All right, welcome everyone to another Chair League cast. Tonight I think I'm solo casting, and we have a match between Trim Bush Meta and Gamma Squad. It's another placement game, and last week Gamma Squad won their game in a fairly one-sided game, as I recall, and so we look forward to seeing more from them this week. Last week, Gamma Squad played their game on Blackheart's Bay, but this week we're still in a kind of new meta. Everyone's working everything out. Zagara has seen a lot less priority, so we'll see what happens there. The map is Infernal Shrines, and we're just waiting for the captains to join the draft. Just making sure that all the captains got the draft. So this week we've already seen Prism and R2 face off in a very exciting match for me personally, because I followed them both in all of their placement matches, and that was their third game, so they were going to be placed after that game. And we saw R2 kind of had a fairly one-sided game and to move on to Division 1, presumably. They went 3-0, and Prism ended up 2-1 to end up in Division 2. So we're still just waiting for Trim Bush Meta. Okay, there we go. The draft has started, and we have Trim Bush Meta picking first. They were the home team this week, so they didn't select the map. Gamma Squad selected the map, which once again is Infernal Shrines. So with the disappearance of kind of Zagara from the first ban phase, and Falstad has been falling off a lot in competitive play as well. We see Kerrigan still got banned out a lot in the first phase of Infernal Shrines. Of course, with the infinite sustain of health and mana off during the Shrine phase, she is just a force to be reckoned with. She just can dance around, jump around the entirety of the Shrine, like jump from one minion to another minion onto a hero or something like that, and you just never know when she's going to initiate, when she's going to hop out. So, and we see a Sylvanas, of course. She, once again, when talking about Infernal Shrines or any map where you have to push with a big objective, she is going to be in play, so always have to look out for that. And they didn't want to have to deal with that snowball, because the first two Punishers on this map isn't going to do a lot. A lot of times you see a split pushing hero will even just stay out of the fight, give the other team the Punisher in exchange for better damage, and but with Sylvanas, there's no option. You have to fight for the shrines. But we do see a Zagara ban, so kind of afraid of that split pushing option, not wanting to deal with that, so just ban Zagara, don't have to worry about it. Of course, that does still leave Zul, and Zul is one of the best at applying lane pressure even during the Shrine phase, and he is a good early fighter, so he can try to get you those at an early lead with those Punishers. And we see the first pick is Kerrigan from Trim Bush Meta, and I've already explained her strengths. We explain it pretty much every week here on this cast, and just infinite sustain, hard to deal with her, super good dive, pairs well with Uther, so we'll see what happens if they pick that up. But of course it also pairs well with Oriel. So the response here is Falstad. Once again, Gamma Squad looks to be playing the early XP lead game. They look to be, just controlling the map. Falstad can join the objective fights as late as possible, and also set up for ganks if they have a good ganking squad. Let's say they pick up ETC, Zul, or something like that. Falstad can easily be the +1 that will get you the kill. So they look to operate from an early XP advantage, and with an early XP advantage, Kerrigan gets much weaker. She needs that little bit of survivability. We talk about this in the cast somewhat, and Kerrigan has this point of no return, basically, where you can either kill her, or she reaches a point where she just won't die in the fight. She's just going to keep going in, keep getting assimilation shields, and then you can't kill her. So she's kind of like Illidan that way during a team fight. So if she has to operate from a level disadvantage, then her point where she can do that is much higher, is much more difficult to reach. So you always want to be working from an XP advantage, and Kerrigan falls off late. So this whole team that Trim Bush Meta has drafted so far is a really strong early game lineup. Brightwing, of course, is strong in all phases, but and kind of matches Falstad's XP soak. So now they've got the lineup to work from an experience advantage. They can fight and snowball off an XP advantage much faster, and they need to probably look to end the game probably before level 20 or so, depending on how much of an advantage they have. Of course, we see that both Brightwing and since the bribe changes from the patch, bribe has gotten a lot better. So we might see bribe from both of the global heroes here, which would be a very different or a departure from builds before the patch. These two heroes usually did not get bribes, so we'll see what happens. Brightwing gets bribe stacks from healing his allies, which is what he wants to do anyway, so it's a very cool kind of change to bribe. I really like what they did with the different bribe talents. And we see the second round of bans are Muradin and Rhaegar, both very stable heroes, and it's kind of a surprise because, well, not a surprise, but it's very different from the first round of bans. The first round of bans, we saw two specialists banned. We saw that neither team wanted to deal with kind of a split push kind of play, or a snowball-y kind of play. In the second round of bans, we just see staples banned out. Very stable, consistent heroes that will give you kind of the same thing every game. Rhaegar will always output heals. His ancestrals will have impact. He has very decent wave clear with lightning shield and a totem. And then Muradin, of course, same thing. He's very survivable during long fights. He can tank. He can do a bunch of damage. He has a lot of control. If he can escape a dangerous situation, he can heal up really quickly and come right back in with his trait. And that dwarf is just a menace, and we've seen him in many games, and he's been very popular in competitive play, even first picked. So no surprise that the ban goes out there. Kind of surprised that they didn't want him though, because they had first picks coming out of this phase, and they could have easily snatched him up themselves, but they went with Diablo. Now, this is kind of the only viable map for Diablo, I'd say, in coordinated play, simply because he has so much clear for the Shrine minions. He deals a lot of damage, and then people are kind of forced to engage you. This is not a map where you can just split push to win the entire way. You can use it to get an advantage early on. Like I said, during the first two Punishers, they don't really do that much, so giving those up is not a big deal. But giving up the next ones, it's going to get increasingly worse. So winning those shrine fights is very important. And then Kharazim is a great pick because he can save people like Falstad or whoever the Kerrigan target is for the jump. So, and of course he'll have Cleanse for Azul's Bone Prison to save that, and of course to counter Polymorph. So whoever their jump burst target is, whoever Trim Bush Meta wants to kill first, Kharazim can save them with Palm, and that's a very reliable save. So as long as their Kharazim player is paying attention, that will trigger and give them a big advantage in the fight. One question here, though, is whether Brightwing is going to go Blink Heal or Emerald Wind. I kind of like Blink Heal to go with Kerrigan. If you're split off between your front line and your back line, and you kind of have to heal both of you, and you kind of need the mobility. But Emerald Wind just performs kind of better, I'd say, and from what I've noticed. So we'll see what happens. He can, of course, Emerald Wind away Diablo and such, but since they're not the diving team, since Gamma Squad isn't the diving team, Emerald Wind isn't quite as good. I expect Brightwing to get Blink Heal there. And then, of course, we see the other kind of best tank right now being picked up for Trim Bush Meta and Johanna. Just the Knight Takes Pawn being baseline now is just so powerful and gives you a, once again, early late XP advantage. So the drafts are complete, and like I said, the poke advantage actually still kind of goes with the Li Ming team, strangely, Trim Bush Meta, so they kind of have to dive in the push. So now so the kind of the burden of initiation and engagement is on Gamma Squad, and so maybe Brightwing will take Emerald Wind, and then we'll have to see how strong and how coordinated Gamma Squad can be in their initiation, because if they can pick off one person right away, then they've got the fight. But if they can't, they let Polly come out, they let Emerald Wind come out, things just start going wrong for them, then it could becoming a very hard fight for them with the mobility of Kerrigan and Li Ming, with Brightwing's Pixie Dust, with Johanna's Peels, and then possibly with Mages slowing them down. It can get very rough for Gamma Squad. So, like most games, it's going to come down to execution. Gamma Squad is definitely not winning a poke war, so I think Trim Bush meta has a bit easier lineup to execute, and I'm going to go with Trim Bush meta looking at these drafts. As long as Kerrigan manages to play patient, and she can just keep jumping on Shrine minions instead of or Shrine monsters instead of trying to engage the other team, she will be fine. Like, their team should be fine. They have a lot of clear, so. On the other hand, Gamma Squad can take the monsters faster, so as soon as they're winning a fight, it's gonna be they can get to their 40 monsters for the Punisher really fast. So it's gonna be a great game. I really love these drafts, and we're gonna see what happens. So both teams are ready. We're entering the game right now. And once again, this is between Trim Bush meta and Gamma Squad. Two teams playing their placement game still. Let's have a quick look at Trim Bush meta. Because I'm actually not familiar with whether this is their first or second game. Okay, I can't seem to get that information right now. Alright, so introducing the teams. On the blue team, on Team Trim Bush meta, we have Dusky on Li Ming, Shoryuken, the captain, on Zul, Anjita on Johanna, Chilia on Brightwing, and Sweet Baby on Kerrigan. Looks like they're gearing up to go mid, 5-on-5 mid fight, West Side Story style. Sorry, excuse me. Captain Bang on Falstad, Trip Bar on Sonya, King Knight on KT, Variations on Diablo, and Unaleska on Karazim. So, well, they're all posturing. Diablo does get a double stun on one of the NKT lands his combo, and that's an early pick on Li Ming. Li Ming should not have been out that far. Kerrigan's also very low, and oh, KT just missed. So we see some signs of the coordination from Team Gamma Squad, and I really like this. And it looks like they should do okay if they keep going like this. Okay, and Shuriken's on fire, and Zul is not rotating. This is always a bad sign. You want Zul to be rotating. Okay, there we go. So they're going to do their 4-man rotation bottom, which is kind of what they expected, and Diablo sets up his own personal party bush, but unfortunately that was Johanna, and Johanna is a very, very hard gank. We see they're matching, Gamma Squad is matching their rotation, which is smart. Against Azul, you just want to keep matching his rotation, keep clearing his skeleton so that they don't get all that pressure on your walls, and that's what they're doing, but they're not doing it very fast because Diablo didn't rotate all the way down with them. So, and we see the matchup one-on-one up top of Kerrigan and Sonya, and Sonya should win this matchup. Despite the self-sustain of Kerrigan, she right now needs mana to do it, and you see she is getting pummeled. Sonya is one of the best 1v1 laners against other melee. She basically can't be beat, even by Thrall. So now Karazim had to Hearth, and so did KT right as the Shrine phase started, but they should be back in time. shouldn't have missed anything. And we see Brightwing coming in. Now Brightwing came in much faster than Felstad, who is still soaking. He had to tap though, which is fine. And then we see, yeah, oh, interesting. Gamma Squad is choosing to go mid and clear before they go to the shrine. So they're going to give up a bit of a lead on the shrine monsters. And I don't know if that's going to be the right decision for them, but once again, they can clear them really fast, so... Sonya getting some free damage on Johanna there. And Falstad is dealing with Zul, who needs to be a bit careful. He has a half-life, and he needs to join his team soon if they're going to fight for this. Oh, Johanna does get picked. That's really unfortunate. With her trait down, we saw her use it earlier. I guess she went back in for some risky poking, and that is not recommended. But now you see the poke from Li Ming come out. Oh, Kerrigan gets caught. Is she going to die? She's going to die. Once again, like I said before the draft, Kerrigan has to play very patient. She just has to wait for Li Ming to poke. She also didn't have any mana when she went in there, so I'm kind of wondering what she's thinking. And the shot calling by Team Trim Bush Meta needs to pick up. They need to just soak, try to repair their XP disadvantage, and just give up this minion. There's no way they're going to take it. They only need 3 on the side of Gamma Squad. Yeah, they're just kind of wasting their mana and time by trying to poke that. So they send Zul bottom, which is smart. They want to send him as far away from where people are as possible so that his skeletons can get max damage. The Punisher is kited over the wall, so that's great. But they did knock down the side wall. Man, I love this coordination and team and shot calling from Gamma Squad. They just poke through the side wall so that they can body them off the Punisher. It's great. And now they might get the fort because of that kind of play. And nope, they're actually going to back off. Karazim's in a bit of trouble being polyed. Now she's slowed. Kerrigan lands her combo, but no deaths as a result. Li Ming didn't have another set of cooldowns to give, so nice escape there from Gamma Squad. And you see that they have a 7-6 advantage now. Pretty standard talents coming out from everyone. Oh, Sonya's going the super aggro build. She didn't even go Ferocious Healing, she went Pulsar, so... And we see Bribe not taken on either team, so nothing too unusual here. Cleanse on Karazim as expected. Diablo's super standard. Power hungry. Yep, Assimilation Mastery, Slipping, Couldn't Kill. Yeah, everything is as expected here in terms of talents. KT did go Convection, which is awesome. It is kind of the only damage talent at level 1 for him, so he's just looking to deal maximum damage. He knows he has 2 frontline warriors who are going to be taking the attention off him, so he feels safe to just completely go damage here. And Netherwind is awesome, and then Sunfire Enchantment, so pretty standard all around. And Falstad took a bit of damage here. He's going to need some help, and KT's already rotating to help him. And Sonya's just soloing the camp bottom. Well, great shot calling and distribution of resources once again. And this is the thing about Heroes of the Storm. It's only a 2-resource game. It's only experience and core and structure damage. Those are the only 2 real resources you need to worry about. And everything you do goes towards that. So how you manage your time and your mana and your health effectively to try to get a lead in those two categories is what will win you the game. And I don't even know what Trim Bush meta is doing here because Gamma Squad is 10. They were going to be 10 before this fight ever happened, so he needs to be super careful. They need to get out. Brightwing's not even here. She's soaking as she should be. And okay, there we go. And Zul is now in mid, and I guess these 3 are here just to keep them on the shrine, make them think they might come back in and just worry about it a little. But Falstad's already wise to their tricks. He's just like, nope, I'm just gonna soak here as well to eliminate your advantage. Now, trading soak here is still okay for Trim Bush meta, of course, because they need 10. Level 11 is not as meaningful as 10, so now they've caught up. They had to give up the Punisher, but if they deal with it as well as they did last time, they should still be fine. So Here we go. They're going to knock down the sidewall once again. I just love this play. I might steal this play for my team, actually. Just so they can kind of aggressively body the enemy team off the Punisher once again. And they are just so aggressive. I love it. And KT is just throwing out those flame strikes. Johanna gets jumped on. Does she still have her trait? That gust from Falstad, beautiful from the Captain Peng, and the fire breath. Oh my goodness, so much damage, and they're just getting a 5-man wipe. Oh my goodness. I guess Zul is very upset that he joined that fight. He's just, oh my goodness, he would have done better if he was just out soaking and pushing another lane. And now they're going to get the tier 2 wall. I don't think they're going to get much more than this, maybe one of these side walls, but wow. And suddenly it's a 2-level advantage. I mean, before, at the end of the Shrine phase, they were almost caught up in XP. They were about half a level behind, and suddenly they're just 3 levels behind almost. That was crazy. And we see Zul did take Poison Nova, probably because of the dual tank situation and essentially 3 melee that they have on the side of Gamma Squad. He thinks he's going to hit a lot of them and get a lot of value. There's different ways to look at it. It might have been better to get the mages to try to control and try to make sure the backline can't follow up as well, or try to make sure Sonya can't chase people around the mages. But oh, they did get a pick on Falstad. Sorry, I missed that. But just looking at the heroics, nothing out of the ordinary, and Sonya, despite them being the dive team, still went Wrath of the Berserker. She is just gonna blow up whoever their target is, and just as we mentioned, Lightning Breath and 7-sided Strike. They are just not afraid at all. With this lead, they just want to compound the lead, not let their foot off the throat of Trim Bush meta. They just want to kill. So, and we're looking for, at this Gust cooldown, as soon as Gust is off cooldown, we're looking for them to make another huge play with that Gust as they did before. Now with a 2-level lead, as I mentioned before, so Kerrigan with a level disadvantage, playing from behind is very hard, because once she goes in, she knows she's going to likely die. So she has to play super safe, pick her spots super carefully. It just makes it way harder to play her. Anyone who's ever played an Illidan from 2 levels behind will know what I'm talking about. It's just, so it looks like Trim Bush meta is trying to clear this before heading into the shrine, but that already gives them a 10 minion advantage in the shrine phase, and boy, they're gonna have to try and fight it though. They can't give this one up as well, so they just got their level 13, which is good, but they all stacked up onto this flame area, and Sonya just comes in and blows them up with her slams. Oh my goodness. The seismic slam damage with Wrath of the Berserker up. Why did they all enter through this choke? Oh my goodness. It was great coordination by Gamma Squad, not to take anything away from them, of course, but you have to wonder about the path of engagement from Trim Bush meta. That was not well advised, because it's such a AoE heavy team. You got Kael'thas with the AoE, you've got Diablo with the AoE, you got Sonya with the AoE, you got Falstad with his boomerang, who hit it and just exploded them. So, oh my goodness. Hopefully they can fix it in time, because I mean, they still haven't lost a keep, so the game isn't over, although this looks like it should get a keep. So we'll see what happens. Diablo went way deep. Oh, but this Punisher actually ended up saving him. Kerrigan goes down, and Li Ming's next, it looks like, and yeah, this looks like it could be the game. Brightwing's just crawling back. Save me, please, Mercy Masters, don't kill me. And Brightwing does live to tell the tale, but only her and Zul left. What can they do? What can they mount as a defense? Diablo is a beast at this point with a 4-level advantage. They have a talent advantage. They don't need to worry about anything. Wrath of the Berserker is just wrecking their core. And nice Poison Nova hitting 4, but it was more of a defensive indifference there as to how much damage they took. They didn't care. They knew they were going to win. So great game coming out from Gamma Squad. Of course, I casted a couple of these people in the HOTS Weekly Discord tournaments in North America before. Unileska in particular has participated in a couple of them, and they've shown great play before, and that's why I wanted to cast them this week. And I was not disappointed. They had... Look at this amount of XP soaked from Falstad. I mean... like 50% more than the highest, which is Zul on the other team. Of course, he died only once and Zul died twice, but still, that should not make up this huge difference. And just kind of that 5-man wipe at the bottom, I guess, is kind of tells the story. And this 15-1 score, just... They were very well coordinated right from the horn, right from the get-go. They completely, the 5-on-5 fight mid, they got the first pick. They were coordinated on who their targets were. They staggered their stuns perfect. They chained their stuns perfectly. Kale Thus played really well. Like, everyone on Gamma Squad played really well, knew what their role was, when to use their spells, how to engage, and... very well done from Gamma Squad, and I look forward to seeing them more in the future. They've got another placement match. They're 2-0 now, and I think they have another placement match next week for their place, so I will try to get their game for next week as well. And great, and thank you to all the players. That's the end of my cast for tonight, and I will have another cast tomorrow night at 11:30 EST, I believe, and so tune in then. If you like my cast, please hit the follow button below. You can check out my YouTube, which is also in the information on the page, and subscribe to that. I will post this game to that channel soon. And once again, I'm Dualistic. Thank you all viewers for watching, and thank you to the players for playing.